students. Today I am going to continue the chapter Sectors of the Indian Economy. Now today I will explain you about public sector. Public sector enterprises are those occupations and economic activities whose resources are owned, controlled and managed by the government. In this sector, economic activities are largely operated in the public interest. Steel Authority of India Limited, Indian Oil Corporation, Hindustan Machine Tools, Life Insurance Corporation, Reserve Bank of India, Railways, Posts and Telegraph are some of the examples of public sector activities. Now, let us see why has India given importance to public sector in the economy? Or why does government spend so much money on the services provided by the public sector? Development of infrastructure is an essential requirement for rapid economic development of the country. A good part of a public sector investment in India was devoted to the development of infrastructure in the country, like transport and communication facilities, fuel and energy, basic heavy industries, constructions of dams and providing irrigation facilities, etc. Public sector is needed to build a strong industrial base, especially in the fields of iron and steel, heavy engineering, coal, heavy electrical, etc. Petroleum and natural gas, etc. Because of their long development, industries do not find favor with the private sector. Government must come forward to set up such industries in the public sector. There are some activities which require government support and encouragement in the public interest. Selling electricity at reasonable rates is not possible without government support. Public sector is also useful in controlling monopoly and concentration of economic power and achieving the goal of social justice. There are some activities which are regarded the prime responsibility of the government. Government should spend money on such activities. For instance, providing education, health and sanitation facilities are the prime responsibility of the government. Government spends a large sum of such activities. Government should also spend money on the welfare of children and on the aspects of human development, such as safe drinking water, housing facility for the poor, food and nutrition, public park and recreation facilities, and providing essential commodities through fair price shops, etc. The expansion of public sector is also necessary to ensure a balanced regional growth in the country. The public sector has thus been designed to play a significant role in India's socio-economic development. It is through the public sector that the government can help, promote, guide and control the economy to attain its social economic goal. Now, next, private sector. Private sector includes all occupations and economic activities wherein resources are privately owned and are operated with a profit motive. Their management and control are also in private hands. At present, dominant part of our economic activities are in the private sector. It is estimated that nearly 80% of countries' economic activities are in the private sector. In India, agriculture, retail trade, cottage industries, professionals such as doctors, advocates, chartered accountants, etc. normally come under private sector. Most of the big companies are also in the hands of private sector, like Tata Iron and Steel Company, Bajaj, Reliance, Birla Textile Mills, etc. are the examples of private sector companies. So, in the terms of ownership, the sectors can be divided into public sector and private sector. In the public sector, the government owns most of the assets and provides all the services. In private sector, ownership of assets and delivery of services lie in the hands of individual or private companies. Both these sectors are involved in major activities of the economy. Except some activities, all spheres of activities are open to either of them. The public sector predominates in certain areas like mining, power generation, transport, healthcare, education, etc., which belong to the infrastructure development or core activities. The private sector predominate in agriculture and allied manufacturing industries, manufacturing of goods, trade, hotel, etc. Both sectors are seen in almost all fields. Example of private sectors are Hindustan, Bajaj Auto, Tata Iron and Steel Company, Indian Hotel Company Limited, etc. Example of public sector organization are Indian Railways, Fertilizers Corporation of India Limited, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, India, etc. Now, profit motives of various sectors. Private sector activities are centered around profit motives and service is of secondary importance. Public sector activities are determined by consideration of social welfare and providing basic amenities for the people. Here, profit motives are of secondary importance. Now, what is the role government's investment. Infrastructure comprises development of transport, power communication, etc. Expenditure on development of infrastructure is known as social overhead cost. The development requires huge capital investment which cannot be mobilized by the private sector. The pace of industrial development cannot be accelerated without the establishment of a proper infrastructure, as such projects do not promise good profit. Development of the backward area is another goal of the public sector. If industries are set up in the backward area, the goal of minimizing economic inequalities between regions will become easier to achieve. So, the government finds it necessary to start industrial production in backward areas by itself. Government encourages the private sector to engage more in business activities because it is not possible to provide organized employment to all people without the support of private sector. Again, government not only assists private sector but also shares the burden of loss of specific industries which had involved in providing base for other industries and other sectors of economy. That is, in electricity generation, government bears a part of the cost of production to make the service cheaper in the market and to sustain other businesses activities. Government also protects both farmers and consumers through establishing fair prices shop. Government buy grains at a standard cost for farmers and supplies these through fair price shops at lower cost to poor in India. Now, other activities which are primarily responsible of the government, what is that? Providing health care to all, running proper schools and providing elementary education to all children. As it is well known that India has a number of illiterate people. Solving other problems like malnutrition, high infant mortality rate, unsafe drinking water, lack of housing, etc. Some poverty-ridden states like Odisha, Bihar have high IMR, even higher than poorest region of the world. So, it is the duty of government to take care of the poorest and most ignorant region of the country through increased expenditure for this. Now you have to write question and answer in your fair copy. Difference between private and public sector.